like I can look at that list and already know, well, I'm definitely not picking that.
Yeah, absolutely. I ranked everything like we would do in a re-rank. So I know that like number 14 through whatever is like we're not gonna, unless you pick them, then yeah, we'll chat about them.
I was gonna say I did not do that. I made a draft board.
Oh shit! So you were super official.
No, I made a draft board in the same way that I would make a draft board that has gotten the teams for me throughout the season that have all surreptitiously been bounced out of the playoffs, ending this week. I just made a list, and I'm just going to cross them off.
I like it.
And then when it's my turn, whatever's still on top is what I'm going to pick.
Hey, best available. That's they shit on it every year, but it is undefeated.
I mean, you would know.
It's true. It's true. It's how I draft every year. Like, who's the best player? Who do I think is going to succeed? Not worrying about bye weeks, not worrying about, what if I have too many players from the same team? Just like, who's the best cat? Let's do it.
Sure. Fucker.
Hey, it won't last next year. I'll have my just desserts. Speaking of desserts.
Just like you always get right here on the Fairly KickAss podcast.
I mean, it sounded as good as anything else was going to, so.
I mean, of all the introductions we've done, and we have done quite a number, as we are, technically wrapping up our 4th calendar year of doing this show.
Yeah.
I think it's a solid C-.
We'll take it. I'll take it.
We've done better objectively. We've done a lot worse.
Yeah. We have done intros that are not even intros at all, that are just us like talking about the weather or something, and then like, hey, should we do the music? Sure. And then the music comes on.
I'm legitimately happy that someone is looking out for us enough that our intros just aren't us like laughing and then making the armpit fart noise and then the music starts.
I mean, don't say that too loud, because someone will hear you and someone will make sure that this happens next time. And I'm that someone for them.
So as we finish up the year of 2024, I guess it would be a good time to ask, how exactly were we thinking we should send these 365 days off?
Well, at this point, the listeners would have already heard our end of year wrap up.
Yep.
If in the off chance that you haven't heard that yet, listeners, make sure to go back after you listen to this episode. But this is kind of the transition between the year that was and the year that will be. And what better way to do that than to recycle old material that we did not really do much of all in the way of prep to get to anything more than what it was before.
Yes, that is what I am talking about.
That is the kick-ass way, as we all know.
That is the essence of this show boiled into like 1 or 2 run-on sentences.
Oh, that's generous for you to call them run-on. This is sort of like marathon on sentences. But we did a episode on top 5 songs to ring in the new year. This was, I want to say, back in 2022, like early January 2022. And the premise was simple. It was the top 5 songs to ring in the new year. I mean, that's really what it was. There was not like a lot more to it. No, I apologize. It was actually January of 21 that we did that episode.
Okay.
And we thought, well, we have to put something together to properly ring in the new year. But I feel like we did it really well the first time, but did we? And we got to talking about it behind the scenes, and we thought, well, why don't we take what we did before and see how it holds up, some 4 years later, because I can count. And basically do, in the spirit of the NFL that is, kind of wrapping up its regular season, we do it in a draft format. We take the full list, our top 5s, our honorable mentions from that episode. We go back and forth and we draft what we feel should be our top 5 list today. And we're going to see how good of an idea that is in a few minutes.
Let me tell you, the exact measure of how good of an idea this turns out to be is whether or not you're hearing me speak these words. Because if it actually, I take it back. Because it's honestly, or at the same time, it's time to get a holiday in. We all need a vacation. We're all trying to get it out of here. So we're just going to throw whatever is against the wall, and hopefully it will stick. And if it doesn't, join us next week for a much better episode.
The other part of this episode, which you probably have figured out by now, is that we are just a two-man group, not to be confused with the Blue Man Group, friends of the show, as are all the great musical acts. Jay not able to join us today, unfortunately. He should be back in the saddle for the next episode that you hear, which will actually be in a couple of weeks, because we are going to have a week off there in early January where we recover from podcasting for like several dozens of weeks straight.
And let's not lie, when he says podcasting, he means binge drinking.
Binge drinking. They go hand in hand. I mean, this show does not exist without alcohol. Let's be
That's more true than anyone listening to this realizes.
But we will make sure to stay on the rails. No, that's a lie. That's a complete lie. We will be as off the rails as we always are, probably more so because Jay's not here to rein us in.
Toot toot.
With that said, I think we have to do the coin toss to see who gets the number one overall pick between the two of us.
Oh, yeah.
And I have been scrambling. If you have a coin, by all means, because I do not have a coin.
Holy crap, I do.
Holy shit.
Now, it is a beat, and you won't be able to make this on the camera or because you're listening to this, but that, in fact, actually is a penny.
Holy
beat to hell. I have no idea where it came from. I assume it was in my pocket at one point. How old is this? It is a 1997 penny.
That looks a lot older than 97, dude.
I know. Oh, no. 2017, 2029. So this penny can drink.
It looks like it has.
Yeah, it looks like it has had... I was going to make a French Connection reference. Then I realized I'm making the point with a 3-year-old penny and the French Connection. It just didn't work, but it's been on binge night. So Lincoln is heads, is already on the floor, and then his monument is on the tails. Would you like to go ahead and make your selection?
Tails never fails. You know the drill.
I can't be the radio guy and narrate the coin. It's in the air. It's on the table. And it is tails.
Yes.
Would you like to receive or defer to the second half?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to defend the north end zone then.
Nice, good. What? I would like the first. I just realized because I was thinking the same thing, and I was like, but none of it works in this context.
Nope, not at all. But I've heard enough coin tosses the last several years in covering football that I am ready for that.
Yeah. You. That's old hat for you.
Exactly. So I guess the other thing we need to establish. So we're just going to repick our top fives.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and we'll talk along the way about like where these originally landed on our lists, and obviously whose list they were on. Maybe we'll discuss a little bit of some of our honorable mentions, but yeah, the top five is going to be the creme de la creme.
Okay. Well, in that case, with the first pick in the 2025 Fairly KickAss New Year's Redraft, the Fightin' Zack select.
The Fightin' Zacks. I'm picturing like Stephen Colbert saying it. Well, I don't think that there's really like this feels like the Christian McCaffrey of this draft class.
Damn it.
And all the credit to you, my friend, because this was originally your number 3 pick.
Yeah, I knew that was
the pick was number 3. The rule is number 1. Of course, it's 1999 by Prince. This song just fits perfectly into any party, any bash, any shindig. And as we all know, the turn of the year is one of the biggest turn-ups that will be experienced throughout the rest of the year. It's the perfect uplifting song. It's the jam that you want to hear as that ball is dropping. It's timeless and it's perfect.
And the best part is now, because of where we are, both in the timeline and as well as in the nostalgia timeline, is that you can now put this on your New Year's Eve invitations and it's your theme party. You can absolutely party like it's 1999. So then it's time to pull out that Lycra button-up shirt with the blue flames and the dragon on the back, pull out that Chartreuse necklace, and if you still have some of the limited edition Zima way in the back of the pantry because there's no way you were going to drink it after buying it once and tasting it and going, oh yeah, there's a reason why we were like, nobody bought this. Pull that out and then genuinely party like it's 1999.
My man coming in with these Zima references, like this is a man who's lived it, folks. Let me tell you, this is a man who was there. He was absolutely living La Vida Loca.
I don't know if that's where I would go with that, but
I was trying to think of other songs that came out in '99. It's the first one that came to mind.
That's fair because I mean, no, you know how you were there is if you know the secret of how to make it Zima palatable, and it involves Jolly Ranchers.
Ah, yes. That is advanced mode.
All right, well, obviously that was going to be the number one song on the list. Like, you are correct. That is the number one overall. There was no question that was what it was going to be. And of course, that was what I was going to take if I did. But I will take the song that for me would slot into 1B. It's another turn-up jam. Not quite from the era, but a little bit before it. But you'd still be playing this in 1999 as we're still playing it in 2014. And it is the party jam from one Montel Jordan. And this is how we do it. And again, you mentioned it, like, maybe it speaks to where we are with the tastes when it comes to parties, but like throughout college, a lot of the Friday and Saturday night jams at our house, I DJ'd a lot, sort of live through my computer, and I'll tell you, this was on that list every single weekend, and it always got a reaction. The entire beer pong room always threw it up for this, so like, how can you not have it at a jam like the New Year's party?
It's true. I mean, the jam of jams for the party of parties, like it goes hand in hand.
And again, what do you know with the message of safety, making sure that you hand your keys to your truck to someone else?
I love it.
Do it responsibly.
That's the truth.
And really at the end, the only way it got better is, hey, don't be a fool, Jimmy, wrap your tool.
I mean, I don't mind an Earl Grey or a chamomile, but I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. Safety is the best tea.
I have no words. My words have escaped me.
Yes.
I've
already won.
Because I know exactly how Jay would be reacting. Let me just.
Thank you. Although I honestly can't really celebrate this at all because your original list is like number one, like by far. Like this was your number two. Like the first two have come off of
my
your top
list will
three.
be gone. Well, maybe. Actually, I guarantee it won't be because I looked at my list and looked at like several of them and went, yeah, I'm not doing that again.
You would be surprised.
I will be stunned actually. And with that case, this number two pick.
Yeah, so this is where it gets weird for me in the re-rank because this is actually the first time that I've looked at where our original picks lined up with my new picks. My second round pick is the only one that I have in my ranking of my top 9 from my own list. Like everything else is from yours and Jay's. So I didn't like my list at all anymore.
All
apparently.
Right. Yeah.
But I did like Raise Your Glass by Pink. It was my number 2 back in 2021. It is my number 2 again this year. It's an awesome ode to those of us who get down in our own special and unique ways, both now at any time of year, but especially as we cross the threshold into the new year. And it also functions as a reminder that as the years pass for all of us, we still have to do our part to do things the way that we want to do them. Because that's what makes us us, and that's what makes Pink's song so wonderful and such a nice reminder to the same.
I think if you asked anyone who knows us or has known us all the way back to high school, that one of the descriptions they would automatically come up with is that we were in fact too school for cool and have been our entire lives. So I agree. I don't like that the top 3 spots on the board all have lines through them already, but you know how it goes. But no, it's also that I like it. And I think we're working from the same point of view is like, we're looking at New Year's Eve songs that kind of have a theme of partying And that's what we're going for. And again, another great one. And again, going back to the college DJing days, crowd participation with this song.
Oh, it's huge. It's huge. Sing-alongable. It's got the built-in prompt to raise the old glass up, during the chorus. It's danceable. It's singable. It scratches all the itches. But does your second round pick scratch all the itches as well?
I'd like to go ahead and drop the fourth wall here as we move into the second round and bring up a point that a lot of people who are familiar with sports and follow drafts of any league do, is that a good trait to have in your war room is someone in that front office who is very adaptable. That's probably not even a word, but someone who is flexible enough to look at the situation, see who the teams ahead of you have taken, and reorder that draft board and kind of shift your priorities to see exactly how you can still improve your team, maybe just not in the way that you thought you were going to be able to. And so I shift because I may not be. We're starting to run thin on songs that are just pure partying. And now we're starting to run into songs that have a message to it.
Yes.
And I don't want to bring things down, but I also, man, is it going to be tough to do so. So before we go ahead and tie the lead weight to the anchor that is this party this evening, let me dive down the board and say, fuck it. With the second round, we're taking Kool and the Gang Celebration.
Very nice.
A classic party jam. I mean, it gets played every New Year's Eve because, I mean, come on, it's the thing that when the confetti drops, it's the natural song to think about it. We're celebrating the turning. It just celebrates parties, weddings, openings, closings, depending on the business. Like that is the song that plays at gatherings where things, where some semblance of festivity. It's a classic. And it's very obvious that I did not prepare for this at all.
No, I think you hit the nail on the head. Like, especially the word festivities. Like, this is the most festive song on the list. Not festive in like the holiday sort of term, but festive in the term of we're here to have a good time. I think that actually might be a verbatim lyric in the song. Like it embodies that good natured feeling. And yeah, there's no secret as to why it gets played at all of these really awesome, upbeat events.
And there's the optimism, and it's the last you'll hear of it, when you say that there's a party going on right here. It's a celebration to last throughout the year.
As I went through the list, I've noticed the same thing, that like I knew that this was, and I won't get into the song selection, but there was a Christmas themed episode that we recorded right before this.
Yeah.
That my selections specifically were extremely dark.
I feel like, and maybe that's why we don't have a ton of holiday content in general outside of Halloween. But the holidays where you're supposed to have like emotions and shit, I feel like we all at one point were feeling one when we would do an episode. So that Christmas happened to be yours. I want to say this New Year's I think might have been Jay's.
Yes, 100%.
This I'm trying to not make it this one mine, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna get there in some way. And if we ever do, like, I'm trying to think of a random holiday where I won't offend anyone, but I don't think it's possible. If we do a Flag Day list, pretty sure it's going to be a hell of a downer.
I mean, 2025, put it on your calendar. We are getting into that shit. I don't know how. I don't know where we're going to find content that revolves around flags. We're going to figure it out.
I have an idea. And
I do too, and I hate my idea.
Terrifying. Well, okay, so we're gonna share. All right. So we'll share some ideas offline. But there is a coming this summer. The FKA does Flag Day.
God damn! What have I gotten us into? Well,
I don't want to go any far. I don't want to go any far. Let's just get into the third round.
Agreed. Yeah. The third round, as you predicted, is where it gets a little bit sideways for my list as well, and where possibly the first curveball of the list.
Oh, I love a good curveball.
Oh yeah, this one I think might be a little bit out of left field, It actually came from your list originally as your honorable mention, or one of your honorable mentions, and it involves a puppet. And that's not a word that I expected to say at all today, but here we are. The song was originally released. Interestingly, if you listen to the song, you would think that this was released smack dab in the middle of like 2020, 2021. No, this came out in 2014, but it could have easily been an anthem for the last several years as we enter episode number 6 of the year 2020. It's silly and perhaps will set some record for usage of the word shit in a song under 2 minutes. If you were wondering, it is 14, or an average of 1 shit every 7.5 seconds. But under the covers, the song It Has to Get Better Than This by Sammy J and Randy is a beautiful plea in hopes that things will look up for us, which is all a great deal of us can do while staring at the calendar in a lot of cases year after year. Also, I will just mention one lyric comparing life to a piccolo where it said that it's much shorter than you think. And that one honestly really got me. Like that specific lyric was like, God, dagger right to the chest.
I am kind of proud of this one that if that's the case, that I was able to bring Sammy J and Randy into the fold. I wanted to reuse them, but then I realized that that record had come down off of Spotify. And because it'd be difficult to put it back into the ride along playlist, I put them to the side. But I really like that song. It was still number 4 on my board because I would have tried to pick it if the album was still there. And I think I probably mentioned it in the original episode that has been lost, but in a good way, it's lost. It's the writing that you mentioned, because you talk about the lyric that hits so hard, and I can pull out another one that is actually goofy as shit until you really think about it. But that is, life is like a futon. It's held in high regard, so you pretend you're comfy, but it's really fucking hard.
Really fucking hard. I have a futon, and I'm getting rid of it in the very near future. I feel that so much.
And honestly, when you say your life is it's a piccolo, and you're like, oh, there's a dick joke coming, and there's not. But then the next line is, life is like a sphincter. It was fun until it bled. So you decide.
There's something for everyone here.
It's proof that you can still get philosophically deep and, bring the funny.
Yeah, and this song does it in equal doses. Like you said, it is a bummer that it's not on Spotify, so this is one, it'll be an extra credit for you listeners. Just seek it out on YouTube. It'll be an easy Google.
Actually, seek both of them out. Randy Feltface is literally all over the world as a stand-up comedian. Sammy J's been doing television heavily in Australia. Find both of them and support those. They're both great comedians.
Absolutely. Yeah, good stuff, man. Once again, like, my list has consisted of your list so far. Every single pick. So you did something right.
I think I'm going to steal one from your list now.
Oh, by all means.
I think so. And mostly because it's the title. I would have to go back and would have had to go back and listen, which, again, as I said, not prepared to do so. But I want to say I'm going to grab your top song from this list on title alone, and the one hint of optimism that I will allow myself before we get dark at the bottom, and that is the Zombies, and This Will Be Our Year. It is enigmatic of the spirit that a lot of New Year's celebrations are meant to invoke. I think that's the ideal message when we get down to December 31st and you really sit down and think about it. Even if things went well, you can always look forward and go, and yet we're going to make next one better.
Yes.
And this is the one that's we're going to make the improvements. We're going to go ahead. We're going to write that letter. We're going to get that job. We're going to lose this weight. And this is my year. And forget the fact that you said the exact same thing 364 and a half days ago. And here you are eating Little Caesars for the 3rd time this week. You are going to make the turnaround. You're going to figure it out. It's going to click, and it will, in fact, be your year. And to do so with a legendary band like the Zombies, pushing that enthusiasm. And the best part is there's also an equal chance that I took this strictly on title, and you go back and listen to the song, and it's actually hugely depressing and the complete opposite of everything I just said. So if it is, just insert that meaning, and I could be completely wrong.
It is not. It is on par with what exactly what you said. It's more of like a love song than it is like just a pure hope and optimism song, but it still holds water in that arena 100%.
You know what? I'll take it, because it also sort of works on a certain level with my favorite Christmas song.
What's that?
Well, I said on a certain level with Fairy Tale of New York.
Ah, yes.
Just ignore like the last verse and a half of the optimism part. Don't need to get too deep into it.
Yeah. And there are certain actual verses of the song that can be ignored as well.
Yeah.
For reasons that we will not go into in this podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this is the one thing that marked it down for me now versus 2021 is that I actually found a cover of this that I like a hell of a lot better. And that's the cover from OK Go. I don't remember when they covered it. I'm guessing it's within the last 7 or 8 years, but I do like their version better than the original. So,
note to self: seek that out as soon as we stop recording.
Yeah, I think you'll enjoy. I think you'll enjoy the original too. I think both of them are killer songs.
Well, the annoying part is I know I've heard the song, but my brain no worky.
Yeah, especially when you hear the chorus, you'll be like, "Oh, it's that
song exactly."
Yeah, for sure.
Like half the songs from the '60s. If someone gives you the title of it, I'm like, "What the hell is that?" And then they play it, like, "Oh, yeah, okay."
Right. Yeah, the one for me that always is exactly that is "Let's Live for Today." It's like, the fuck is "Let's Live," and then
yeah. Okay, yep. Mostly because you can't understand half that line anyway. But that's neither here nor there. I think what we really want to understand is your 4th round pick.
I swear it's not a bit. I promise you it's not a bit. This is going to be the 4th song from your list that ends up on mine. I had my whole draft board again. I haven't looked at where yours or Jay's or my songs were until just now.
Okay.
This is the best available that I have.
All right, let's hear you.
This isn't a song that I picked on title alone. I absolutely could have picked the song on title alone and it would have worked perfectly. And just how brief the title is, just how concise it is, and how much of it is a call to action where you don't even really need the lyrics to the song at all to really portray the message here. Because life sucks. Let's dance. That one coming from the Real Big Fish. It's exactly like, I wish there was more elegance that I could say, something I could say more elegantly rather about this track. But everything about it, and in fact, the title track from their 2018 album, with a really great album cover, by the way. It's basically a hula dancer dancing in front of an active volcano, which, I mean, can you get any better illustration of life?
Just the metaphor work any better?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. But, I think the first verse really sums it up well when they say that they're saying things are worse than they've ever been. It looks like the bad guys are going to win and nobody here is getting out alive. So I know what I want to do tonight. Life sucks, so let's dance. I'm not saying that everyone's life is terrible or that anyone's life is terrible, but we all go through the shit. We all go through good and bad, and sometimes when bad is bad, like, there's not necessarily a lot of silver lining to it. So to me, that's what I took from the song, that, like, when things are in a really shitty spot where there's not really a good end in sight, where you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, like, make yourself feel better. Do what makes you happy. And in this case, it was dancing.
That's right. And honestly, what better way, if you're feeling down, is just kind of move the coffee table back in the living room, put this song on, get up and skank for a couple minutes. Get the heart rate up, get the endorphins going. Feel better.
It's a beautiful thing.
It's just those little things. I know we talked about the pandemic time, but it kind of harkens back to the lessons again, like, that whole summer we're just kind of locked up in the house. And sometimes you really just have to dance for a little bit just to kind of clear the head and shake some stuff out. Better bumps.
Yeah, go find your suspendies, go find your finest pork pie hat, and get after it.
Suspended.
Just fucking go for it.
You know what? I'm here for it. Let's go.
Well, let's go. And I did wonder with what you just said if that was an allusion to your fourth round pick or if that was just a weird turn of phrase. So please hit us with it.
You know, it would be interesting if I were to put those kind of things together, but it's even more interesting when I put those kind of things together and lay it out and so blatantly and then snatch it away.
Perfect.
Like I'm going to do from your list again. Ooh. Because I can't. Some things I admit to sometimes I'll cling too hard to traditions. Like we were texting last night after the completion of the first round of the college football playoffs, and my comment was, it's great that the Rose Bowl will be traditional this year, a Big Ten team and a Pac-12 team, as Ohio State will travel to play Oregon. Because that's what that game has been for time immemorial. And yes, I am using that incorrectly. That's the joke. The point being, some things you do traditionally around certain times, and New Year's happens to come with it, and it happens to come with a song adapted from a poem by one Robbie Burns. I really hope I didn't blow the history on that one as well, because I know that might be a little disputed there, but regardless. But stealing from somewhere in your list again is a new take with brilliant harmonies, because this group always puts brilliant harmonies together. It is Pentatonic's version of Auld Lang Syne. And the only reason, like, there's two acceptable for me versions of this song is that you have to do this, has to be a vocal group. I like the Pentatonics version. If Rockapella did one, I would prefer that one as well. We could go with that. And if you don't have access to that, just play Dan Fogelberg's same old Auld Lang Syne, and it pretty much does the same thing. That's a joke as well. Actually, it's not. I unironically love that song.
I think that's the beauty of it, that we've done a couple of episodes of our Coverlutions episodes where we talk about songs that have been covered and covered and covered again, and all the different types of covers, all the different styles, all the different flavors. You don't really get that with Auld Lang Syne. It is what it is.
No, it's because it's a traditional song or a traditional folk song. You just get a lot of different people doing it, but not really. You don't hear too many alterations in the song. Not a whole lot of drum and bass covers of Auld Lang Syne. That's all I'm saying.
No, not a lot of hip hop Auld Lang Syne going on. Although I would be here for a hip hop cover.
I would, yes, wholeheartedly there.
And you were spot on as well. That was from the pen of the great Robbie Burns.
Okay, cool. I know there was some questions, or maybe it was another song that wasn't quite sure about that one. As we bring the fourth round to a close, we also have a trade to announce.
Yeah, I mean, you knew there was going to be shenanigans, right, listeners? Like, we've gotten almost a whole episode without any.
Always shenanigans. In this trade, the fight... you want to say it correctly, your team? Go ahead and say that correctly.
It's the Fightin' Zacks.
Thank you. The Fightin' Zacks sending their fifth round pick to the city name Failures for their fifth round pick.
There's probably some cash considerations there in the sense that we were considering cash and then didn't do anything else with it.
By considering cash, you mean I was thinking about a $1 bill in my wallet when I asked if you wanted to make the trade.
I blew in there. There was dust. So I was like, nah, I've got nothing, bro.
Well, all I had was the one for you.
Mm-hmm.
So I will jump ahead of you, and I don't know that I needed to, but I felt like, because it's also on point, it's on point for both Jay and I had to jump up, and actually had to jump down into the middle of my board to make sure I picked this one up. And deciding, let's not depress the hell out of everyone tonight. Save it for another night. Instead, let's put a new coat of paint on this lonesome old town and grab Tom Waits' new coat of paint from Jay's list. Like I said, he and I both unironically love Tom Waits. For different reasons, but also for the same reasons, because he's an artist that shouldn't be as endearing as he is, and yet he is, and an artist that has an incredible pen, for lack of a better term. Again, another one, you could take it as sort of delusional about trying to change things that can't be changed, or you can take it the way I choose to when I read these lyrics, is that in the way of Dexy's Midnight Runners, let's blow this town and change the scenery. And for us, we'll make everything better. Slap on a new coat of paint and hope it doesn't fade.
If ever there was a better metaphor for the turn of the new year, slap on a coat of new paint and hope it doesn't fade. I mean, that's up there.
I believe I have completed my Russo sword for the evening. The floor is yours.
Thank you. And I will end us out on I guess a surprising high note. So I don't think this really went as south as either of us had expected, which I am absolutely all for. And to kind of put a bow on my 5th round or 10th overall song, I will use the lyrics once again, because they just work perfectly in this case, where the lead singer croons, "And I am done with my graceless heart. So tonight I'm going to cut it out and then restart." It was what I thought you were alluding to. It was Florence and the Machine's "Shake It Out." Because New Year's are so often new beginnings, and so often that new beginning is, has external factors associated with it, a new relationship, a new job, a new opportunity of some other type. And that's perfect. That's wonderful. But also that change comes from within. And I feel like it's the latter that Florence is talking about in this song. Looking inward and not necessarily saying like, this sucks, we have to change it, but saying whatever the case is, the mention of ghouls in the song, the mention of demons in the song, like let's just cut it out. Let's excise it all together. Let's move to the next thing with essentially a clean slate. Let's shake that Etch a Sketch up and let's start anew, whatever that means for us. So, really cool message, and anything that could be, written and or delivered by the great Florence Welch is something that I'm going to listen to intently. So this is certainly no different.
I think you hit the nail exactly on the head with the reading. I think we read those lyrics the exact same way, realizing that there are certain things outside of myself that are going to continue to affect me. I don't have the power over that. But the stuff inside, I can make that choice and work and change those. And sometimes it really does happen to feel like all you need to do is just kind of let that go. And that is awful advice, by the way, to just say someone, your problems are just let them go. Like that's not how that works. I don't think that's how she's suggesting there. Yeah. But like the self-destructive parts, that you can stop, that you can turn around with some work. And that's how I read that whole thing. So I'm completely with you on that one.
For sure. Yeah. Less of a sweep it under the rug and more of a pull up the rug and see what's underneath and then handle it and deal with it and then put the rug back fresh and freshly shampooed and vacuumed and ready for the next year.
Or also, don't be afraid to look at, either linoleum or laminate, or if you're feeling fancy, hardwood floor. That's not a metaphor for anything. This is now flooring talk.
I think somehow we both became Bob Vila in that moment, and I'm here for it.
I would love to do a Bob Vila impression, but I don't know, because to me, and I know this is not the case, but in my head, Bob Vila and Bob Ross start to vocally blend together. Like they both have that same kind of tone.
Yeah, I could see that 100%. I could see that.
Like if he was never working on construction, if Bob Vila does a podcast where it's just him in a room answering emails, giving advice, it'd be the greatest ASMR ever. You're looking that up now, aren't you?
I am. It's like, please let this be a thing.
Please. And if Bob is listening and hasn't done that, do it. Because not only would you be the greatest ASMR artist ever, but you would definitely be helping a lot of people out if they just kind of emailed you those little around the house questions.
It does not exist anymore, unfortunately, but there was a very brief podcast, and by very brief, I mean the episodes were about a minute long.
Okay.
Where he would give you minute-long tips on all kinds of things.
Oh, good. Okay.
Painting over oil-based paint, The key difference between popular roofing materials, driveway aprons 101. Like he was digging in 60 seconds or less.
Nice. Okay. I had to check real quick that because if it had something like Bob Vila had passed and I completely missed it, I was going to feel like a right dick and maybe edit a lot of that out.
Yeah. The power post would have come in clutch there.
Yeah, definitely. So an interesting draft that I still think these are two playlists you want to throw on at about 10:45 or so.
That sounds about right.
So I want to run through our teams real quick before we get out of here, but I'd also like to take a few minutes to talk about the stuff that was left on the draft board in the free agent pool. And you know what we should do?
What's that?
Is since we're going to obviously have a ride-along playlist, which you'll be able to find up at fairlykickass.com when this episode posts, what we should also do is send the free agent pool to Jay and have him pick his 5 from what's
idea.
left and see how he feels about that. Now, I feel like there's a couple of songs from his that definitely left it on the cutting room floor, so he might get offended. So maybe we shouldn't do that. But the point remains: we should give him the opportunity to fill his team with some free agents.
Absolutely. And there's still a lot of good tracks. I won't spoil any just so he can put together his team, but there are a lot of great tracks, some uplifting tracks, some that are obviously a little more downer, but still beautiful, beautiful songs. There's no shortage of great jams to choose from. I don't think there are really very many, if any, misses on this entire list.
Honestly, I thought there were 2 misses. I put them at the bottom of my list, and they were both mine because I didn't think Sammy J and Randy's census really fit anymore. And I had no fucking idea why I put Kodachrome on my honorable mentions. No clue. Absolutely no idea.
I didn't hate it. I didn't really get it in this instance, but as a song, yeah, I did.
Yeah, no. I like the song. I like that whole record. I have no idea why I would have tapped it to be a New Year's Eve song.
Right. And I felt the same exact way about Radiohead's Fitter Happier that I had as my number 3 originally that I put towards the bottom of my list, simply because it's sarcastic. It's absolutely supposed to be a parody of all the bullshit that any of this is bullshit, but all the bullshit that gets slung around this time of year too.
And the thing about it is, though, if I had decided to go a different way, I would have absolutely made that one of my first picks because of that.
Yeah.
That, and also I would have been thinking about the Richard Cheese cover of Creep.
Oh, yeah.
Which is certainly good. But at the very end of it, that's when he screams, fitter, healthier, more productive, a pig in a cage on antibiotics. And then they get the drum flurry to finish the cover. And I'm like, that's the spirit that I would have started with and then gone downhill.
That would have been awesome. Yeah, shout out Richard Cheese, too. Lounge singer extraordinaire. Lounge singer cover artist extraordinaire.
All right. Would you like to introduce us to the 2025 Fighting Zacks?
I would indeed. At the number 1 overall pick, playing power forward, it is Prince with 1999. With the number 3 overall pick at the shooting guard position is Pink. I knew we were doing NFL. I don't know why I slipped into basketball.
Because there's 5. So that's because that's where I was going.
Yeah. It's Pink with Raise Your Glass. The number 5 overall pick, your starting center for the Fighting Zacks, centers, as it were, Sammy J and Randy Feltface with It Has to Get Better Than This. Number 7 overall pick at small forward position is Real Big Fish with Life Sucks, Let's Dance. And rounding out the 5 at the point guard position, it is none other than Tom Waits with the number 9 overall pick with New Coat of Paint. Wait, that's not right. We switched picks.
Yeah.
At number 10 at point guard is Florence Welch with the backing of the machine with Shake It Out. I was saying that. I was like, I didn't pick that, did I? Completely out of body experience. and you, sir, the city name failures. Give us your roster.
I can definitely do that. At point guard, number 6 from USC, Montel Jordan. This is how we do it. At shooting guard, number 61, from Rutgers University, Kool and the Gang, Celebration. At power forward, from England State, the Zombies, This Will Be Our Year.
Beautiful.
At small forward, out of UT Arlington, number 5, Pentatonics, Auld Lang Syne. And at center, Number 91 from Cal Poly Pomona, Tom Waits' new coat of paint. Your head coach of the failures. Nope, not going to make that joke. I might get in trouble for that.
Yeah, there are so many directions you could have gone, and all of them would have gotten us banned from the show.
No, but I'm pretty sure if I would have tried it, I would have gotten a stern talking to.
Oh, without question. Without question.
Yes.
Whatever it was, yeah.
I'll tell you off air. So that is our new top 5 lists to ring in the new year with. Seriously, go up to fairlykickass.com after you've listened to this, grab those playlists and jam out to them this evening or whatever New Year's Eve is in your area. And the joke doesn't work because it's visual.
They saw you do it in their heads. They know what's up.
Yeah. Every single one of our listeners are huge Craig Ferguson fans, so they knew what the joke was already,
without question.
And they know why there's a horse costume in the closet behind me.
Yeah, that horse produces a whole lot of horse. Ooh la la. Let me tell you.
And if you have suggestions for your own or like to share your New Year's Eve party playlist with us, Zach, what's the best way they can do that?
Oh, we've got ways. We've got 4 of them off the rip from a social media standpoint. It's at Fairly KickAss on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. We are going to have, I know we've been saying this the last few weeks, apparently video editing is really hard. So we've learned. But as soon as we figure out exactly how to get the ones and the zeros in the proper places, we do have 3 TikTok videos that we are priming to post in very short order. Hopefully here in the next few weeks. They'll be posted to YouTube Shorts as well. We will certainly put something out on all of our social media once that happens. So definitely stay tuned for that. Follow us, subscribe us in all the places. As Dan mentioned, fairlykickass.com for your ride-along playlists. In 2025, the website is going to be more than ride-along playlists. We don't know what yet. Maybe merch. Maybe. It's a possibility. Fingers crossed that we can have enough listeners to have merch.
At this point, I'm not ruling anything out. I'm not even ruling out a trip to the World Series for us.
Hey, there we go. That's the optimism we need on New Year's Eve right there. That's perfect.
That's right. We are going to dominate the Central.
Yeah.
We're going to run through the playoffs, and we're going to get destroyed by the Mets.
It's a rite of passage these days.
I think that's a problem. I think that's our best trajectory for the upcoming season. What do you think?
I mean, they have a $38 trillion payroll. Like, there's nothing really we can do.
Are you right? I mean, and look, my last check was 38 cents a Big League Chew.
It's the best gum on the market. Go to your local gas station or grocery store and ask them for the Big League Chew.
By name.
That is not a sponsorship. We made $0 on that because
$0 we are just fans of bubble gum that is supposed to meant to simulate chewing tobacco.
Indeed.
And that's the point when I think we acknowledge that we should probably just go.
Yeah, that's for the best. Happy New Year, everybody.
See ya.